It is week 8. Oh, can you believe that? 4 more weeks to go. Week 8 on the 12 weeks of Christmas. 4 weeks to go. I just want to thank everybody for your kind comments and everything on this 12 weeks of Christmas series. It has really been fun. I thank you guys too for when you purchased from my Etsy shop. I just want to say a big thank you for that. Thank you for your great reviews. It really means a lot to me. So this is going to be a fun project again this week. I'm not going to do a tutorial, and I don't know if there's a tutorial out there for these, but it's very simple. And anyway, one thing I did forget is I forgot to get the bag. So I'm going to run and do that really quick and put the camera on pause. But I'll show you kind of these things that we're doing. This is a Hobby Lobby glassine bag. And this is just a burlap tag. Now this would be very easy to make. But I actually bought these over this weekend at Tuesday morning. They had some of these, or no, this was Michael's. I take that back. I bought these at Michael's. They actually had these little burlap tags on sale. And so these are found at Michael's. This is just a Pinterest image. All that I used today are Pinterest images. Anyway, this is where you can write your sentiment. I added a little crocheted lace there, and just simply stitched that on my tag. Added a little lace, stitched it on, and then I actually punched just 2 little small holes to hold my tag on, and I just looped them both through to the grommet there, and it actually holds it on. And then of course I used just a little bit of washi tape to secure this bag. It's just a little bag of candy, some little taffy, peppermint taffy. And anyway, that just made a cute little gift. I thought that was fun. So I wanted to use one of these burlap tags after I got them. So anyway, that's the first project. And then these are my 2 other projects. So let me grab a bag and I'll be right. Okay, I got the paper bag. Now this here is just your regular paper bag that you get from Walmart. It's not the giant or the jumbo size. It is just the regular lunch bag. And the measurements on it is about 10 3/4 by 5 1/8. So just your, regular size lunch bag. Now, I have seen several people do this. I know that Gina at Firefly Studios, she does this. And what gave me the idea is I ordered something from 481 Designs and Dubraska over there. She sent me this little journal made out of the paper bag. And this is actually what gave me the idea, because this looked really simple to do and not very time consuming, which it was not. And she used just a little stitch here to hold it in. Just a 2-hole stitch to hold that paper in. So anyway, this is where the inspiration come from. But like I said, I know there are many that do this. And I don't know who the originator of or who thought this up, but I am going to link Dubraska's channel, 481 Designs, in the description box. And I'm also going to link Gina over at Firefly Studios, because I know she does this also. So this is just your lunch bag. And I'll show you how to kind of fold the lunch bag, and I'll just give you the measurements after I show you the album. So also my other one here, I was at Target for the Black Friday sales, and on their dollar spot they had these little pull string bags. So my mind was thinking that would make a really cute journal cover. And with the strings on the front, you could put your piece of paper in here to kind of journal, or if you're giving it to somebody, you know, maybe a little sentiment. So anyway, that is what the inspiration to that came for. I just kind of seen that bag and thought it would make a pretty cover. So anyway, this is what I came up with, and I've got several of these. I've got a little vintage one, but I will do them in another video. Here's a little candy cane vintage one. But I will do them in another video. I also have a couple more of these that I made that I will put in another video. So we're going to start with the paper bag first. And I just did use seam binding. And what I actually did was I printed my images off Pinterest. This one is Every Time a Bell Rings, an Angel Gets His Wings off It's a Wonderful Life. Well, I cut out the bells and I stuck my ribbon, which you could go underneath your printable here. But I was going to just leave it loose, and then I decided after the fact to have it secured. So that is why I did that. And then I just cut out the bells and put it over where the bells was actually on the printout. Okay. Some of these vintage images also, I like this one, I know. And maybe this little girl here. I believe they came from Graphics Studio, or Graphics Fairy. If you've not ever been over to her channel, the Graphics Fairy, she has lots of free printables. And I will also link her website in the description box so that you can have that. So anyway, she's just got tons of stuff over there. So anyway, the paper line is an authentic paper. I do not remember the name of it. I will have to put it in the description box. I've already forgotten what I used there. It's an older one. I believe it's Tidings. I take that back. It's Tidings is what the name of it is, by Authentique. And here you just open it up. Now, I think, like on Dubraska's, she stitched hers in here, where I stitched mine on this side. I actually have one that I did on this side, and it was just so full that I decided to move it to the other side. So, I just took out little stickers. I had a sticker sheet. It did not come from the Tidings sticker sheet, but I had a different sticker sheet of Christmas, and I just took out the moments. This is some vintage trim right here. I bought this at an antique shop down at Lake of the Ozark. And then I just kind of put a sentiment, you know, like a card or something. It says, enjoy the holiday, and it says, the magic of Christmas never ends, and its greatest of gifts are family and friends. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So that if you was giving it as a gift, it was kind of just a card in a way. So then I've got my little Pinterest images here, and I made this very simple. I've just tore little sheets of that masking paper that I've copy dyed. I did a little stitching in them. Here's a doily. This is another Pinterest image, and this I printed off on copy paper so that it would be a little thinner. And I have some vintage paper there. This is another little image that I have just printed off of Pinterest, and I just simply reduced the size. It's just a little music sheet. And I put it on some copy paper. And another little Pinterest image, all of Christmas. These images are Christmas images. It says greetings. I can't really read this fine print there, but it does say greetings. Here's another little image that I got off Pinterest. Another little Jingle Bells music sheet here. And a book page. And then here's my little last image there that I've put in the book. And then just a little piece of paper there. And then in the back, I have a little piece here in case you wanted to write something. And the good thing about this gift, if you were giving it as a gift, they can keep the journal. But I've made a little pocket here for a gift card. I made it out of a book page. So it just sits in there. And then put it in the pocket. So you actually have two little pockets there. There's a little hidden pocket here. It's very small, but I did punch it out so that you could see it was there. And anyway, if you wanted to, kind of like a hidden pocket there. But anyway, this is my little paper bag gift here that will hold the gift card. So, and once they use the gift card, then they can just use the pocket for a journal and, you know, to put something in there. So anyway, that's my little idea for that one. Okay, now the measurements for the paper bag are, of course, your regular paper bag, and then your insides here are 3 1/4, and you need 6 of them. 4, 5, and then this is your 6th one, which I did use my my round punch there to just do them. So you need 6 of them. However you do your papers, I actually use 2 different papers here. So however you decide to do your papers, you may want them all the same, but you need 6 of those. And then your little pocket piece here, this little pocket piece here, it will be a 5 1/8 by 2 1/4 going this way. 5 1/8 is your long, and 3 1/4 is your wide on your big pieces, and this is 2 1/4 on your pocket. And then I used right at 30 inches of seam binding, because I always like to make sure I have plenty to tie, and then leave it a little longer so that way if the journal gets a little bigger, you have plenty of seam binding to do that. So there we are. You're just going to use a regular lunch bag, which I said was 10 1/2, 11 1/2, 10 1/2 by 5 1/8, and then your 6 pieces that you need are going to be 3 1/4, which is your wide, by 5 1/8 long. And then your pocket is going to be 2 1/4 by 5 1/8, which is your pocket here. And anyway, pretty simple, pretty fun, and just a nice little gift. Okay, so then on the little bag here from Target, I cut my journaling paper. Oh, and which reminds me, I forgot to give you your size for your journaling paper. The journaling paper on this here, you will need to cut it, let's see, it's going to be 6 1/2 and then folded to make it 3 1/4. So you need to cut them 6 1/2 wide by 5 1/8 long, and then fold them. Once you cut them 6 1/2, fold it, and that gives you a 3 1/4 inch size page. Okay, so you need 6 1/2 by 5 1/8, and then folded on the 6 1/2 inch side. Just fold that, and then that will make your pages. Okay, to fold the bag, I've kind of went ahead and folded this up a little bit. It measures right at about 3 1/2. 3 1/2 from this end, you'll want to maybe score or maybe draw you a line or something where you can fold. And then if you just don't even want to measure that, just bring it on over, you can. If you are into measuring, it's going to be about flipping it this way and measuring it coming in from the end, about 3 5/8. You'll kind of want to mark it or score it. So anyway, and that will give you a nice fold. Now on the 3 1/4 inch little cover pieces that I had the 6 of, the 3 1/4 will bring it in where you're going to have, if you center it up, kind of, you're going to have, you know, you're going to have a little bit of bag showing on both sides. And the reason why I went in a little further is because I found out if I come out about 3 5/8, I get close to that, these little creases here, it actually didn't let my book bend as easy. So that's why I just made the 6 pieces at 3 1/4 each, because it was just easier to have that little bit of of room for this to close. So I hope that makes sense to you. I'll give you the measurements one more time. Bring it in 3.5 on your flap side. Bring it in and score it or mark it for your fold at 3.5 from the end. Kind of flip it, and then it would be 3 5/8. Or you could do 3.5 just to simplify it. And mark it or do a score line, and then that will give you your fold. And then that gives you plenty of room to be able to open your. And then, like I said, you know, I found it easier to put my journal and attach it, whether by pamphlet stitch or sewing it in like I did. I found it easier to be on this side than this side. I've got a couple of them I did on this side, and I have only one that I did on this side. But when I did it on this side, I didn't like it. And I also had the paper come out a little bit further than that 3 1/4. And anyway, I just didn't like it as well. I didn't feel like the book was as free to open and close. So anyway, that is the folding of the bag. And then on the little bag from Target, which these little bags are, and I got these on, of course, the dollar spot. I don't know if I said that. They are right at 7 3/8 by 5 1/8. That's what they measure. And anyway, what I did was to be able to make sure I was center. I put my ruler in here and just moved them where they were even, and then I took a pencil and marked my center, so I would be sure to get my paper centered of the book instead of trying to wing it, and that's how I actually did that. But your papers are going to need to be 7 by 4 3/4 because the bag is 4 3/4 long, and it's 3 1/2 inches wide. So you're going to cut your journaling paper at 7 by 4 3/4, and then on that 7-inch side you're going to fold it in half to make your journaling pages 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, so that when it's folded and you're turning the pages, they're only a 3 1/2 inch page. Okay, so let's open one of this one here. Now this one was fun. I just simply on this back took a piece of the crocheted lace and stitched it. Okay, I wanted this to kind of look a little sloppy. I mean, I know it doesn't, but that was what I wanted it to kind of do a little bit. But I stitched that on and then just put the seam binding through it. I didn't actually attach the seam binding down. I just wanted it to be held every time you open the book. Now, I think on the seam binding part, I probably have, I think it was 30 inches of seam binding is what I used, so almost a yard. But I went ahead and I stitched this, and then I actually just glued it on the cover. You have to be careful when you glue that, though, that you put something under so that this doesn't actually get sealed shut when that glue seeps through a little bit. Here is the journaling paper that I put in the front. These are Tim Holtz. This is just some Tim Holtz little bells there. And then I used some super thin twine and just tied like a little bow on it and glued them on so they were nice and secure and the bow was secure. And here is the top. I added a little red seam binding on some paper clips. The front, I did not put anything in. I mean, you could easily add a pocket or something, but I just left it. I did some stitching on the pages here. It's just a variety of pages. This one has some music paper. The others, I think, I have a couple of them that actually have the music sheet that I printed off Pinterest, but I'll show you those when I do my other video. This here is some vintage tatting. Love it. I'm not going to pull this out because it is kind of hard to get back in there with that tatting, but it is just simply a little journaling spot there. And then here is the little candy cane Christmas, another, of course, Pinterest image. And I stitched around it. Let's see if I can get that back on there. And then some more of that just paper. I added a little tag here, a little manila tag. Here's a little, that is the copy paper. Really pretty Christmas image. Yes. Here is some more of that music paper. Center of the signature. I kept these pretty basic. I did not put a lot of stuff in them. You can add more Christmas stuff. Here is that every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. And then here is that little darling. I love this image here. This is really a pretty image. And then there's that. But there's lots of places to just add, for somebody to add their own spin here even still yet. I wanted to keep this really simple so that when you make gifts that, you know, they're not real time consuming. You know, you want it to look like you have put effort in it, but you don't want to just go, you know, and especially if you have to make several. I'm trying to keep it where they're very easy and not time consuming to make. So anyway, this is the week 8 project. That's ties in its little bow. And like I said, I have some others that I'm going to show. I'm going to list these in Etsy, and the video will come just shortly after this video. And I'm going to let you look at this one more time. This here is, I love making stuff like this. It's so simple, so fun. And I will kind of take it apart so that you can see. This is what I did. I simply just made 2 little holes and tied that, and then run it through the hole and tied the bow. And it keeps it attached, and you know, you don't really see where it's coming through. And then the front of the bag is here that right here is the flap. And then I just filled it with some of these little taffy candies. So anyway, just a fun little gift, guys. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in just a little bit in the next video.